Okay, we are going to talk about Gatsby. Gatsby's temperament evaluation. So, here's a scorecard. First thing you need to realize is that the low, medium, high, it's not that low isn't bad and high isn't good. It's a spectrum. So, the first thing you'll notice is that I put him into the testing area, and then what I'm looking for first off is confidence level. How does he adjust to a new area? They really haven't spent much time in that room in our home, and their new obstacles, their new items. How does he handle it? And I gave him a medium, mostly because like his tail was high and he kind of moseyed about, but he could have kind of cared less that he was there. But the rest of the evaluation, he was quite confident. He tried everything. He was kind of just ho-hum about it all. Pretty easygoing. The next thing you notice is that I get into the testing area with him, and then what I'm watching for is how does he approach me? So assertiveness. A high assertive dog kind of jumps into your lap, and they have no regard for your personal space, and they're trying to lick your face and jump all over you. Whereas the other side of the spectrum, a low assertive dog, they may even not approach. They might army crawl over, or they might kind of politely sit beside you. So he scored a medium because you'll watch and you'll see that he kind of crawls into my lap. And then he kind of looks up and he's like, hi, what's next? Kind of looking for my direction. So motivation level is the next thing. And this can also be known as like workability or their trainability. So basically, how badly do they want to please their people? And he sure does. He's always looking to please. He always, when I'm coming to the side of the playpen, I notice that he's always like sitting and waiting, and he's always wanting attention, and he really wants to work for his people. Throughout the testing, you can see that he tries everything I ask, and he brought the ball back to me, and yeah, so he just wants to play, and he just wants to please you, and he's such a good boy. Nerve strength and resiliency. So in a dog, this is their ability to handle stress. How do they handle a new situation? How do they handle being caught off guard? Signs of a dog struggling with this would be like shaking, or signs of stress. There's often like lip smacking, yawning, scratching, shaking. So those are all signs that they're not maybe handling stress very well. And I didn't notice any of this. There was no shaking. He was just cool as a cucumber. There was no issues. So he's great nerve strength here. So I do think that his reaction to stress, he's going to handle that quite well. Touch tolerance. So this is not how much a dog enjoys being touched. It is how tolerant they are to it. So think of like a visit to the vet or a visit to the groomers. So this is one of those adjustable traits where it absolutely can be built into. But on the flip side, he already has a high touch tolerance. We practice these handling exercises every single day since they are brand new. And I encourage families to continue doing that. So using the clippers on their backs, putting like the spoon or the metal comb by their eyes. These are all building that touch tolerance. And yeah, he's such a baby. You kind of like, you cradle him and he just like melts into your arms. You just a little snuggle buddy. Energy level. So this is something that's innate. This is a stable trait. It doesn't really change in a dog. So a low energy dog, you would notice them doing a lot of sitting or just mostly walking through the testing area. And then a high energy dog really doesn't ever sit. They just continually run circles during the evaluation. So he was right in the middle. He was like happy to walk and explore and sniff things. And then he kind of got his play on and he started running about a little bit, and then he slowed down for a snuggle. And then you also notice that he keeps coming back to check in with me. So that's the human focus. So we'll get there. So sound and sight sensitivity. So this is gauging how sensitive they are to the sound. So being like scoring low means that they really didn't notice. So when we talk about a bomb-proof dog, these dogs have low sight and sound sensitivity. So I take a shaker, it's like a Fisher-Price rattle shaker, and I shake it really loud to see if they notice. And I don't actually care if they notice. What I'm looking for is how fast do they recover. And it's like he didn't even hear it. He didn't even flinch to the sound. And then the sight sensitivity, I pop an umbrella and see if they startle at all. Again, he didn't even notice. At one point, I kind of popped the tunnel and he kind of looked at it, but it by no means set him off track. It was not a startle to him whatsoever, which is awesome when there's young kids in the family, because kids are loud and they're fast and they jump around and they dance around, and chances are he's going to notice it less. Prey drive. So he's medium. We were using the toys and I'm trying to get him to engage, and he really liked his toys, but it wasn't so intense that it would be hard to manage. A dog that has a high intense prey drive, when kids run through the house, guess what? The puppy with the high prey drive is going to chase those kids. He's still a teething puppy, so he's probably still going to bite at pant legs and stuff. That's normal puppy behavior. Alternatively, a low prey drive dog doesn't necessarily like toys. They're kind of hard to disengage from, when they're teething and biting on something, you're trying to like replace it with a toy. And a puppy that has no prey drive sometimes has no interest in toys. So a bit of a prey drive can be fun. Can be fun to have in a dog. Human focus. So I give him a high. You can see that he just like is constantly coming back to check in, and he's like, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to be my buddy? Yes, but then he was also kind of, once in a while, he would go do his own thing, and then he would come back and check in on me, or he'd constantly seek me out. So he really wants to be with his people. Tenderheartedness. So he scored a moderate. You'll see that I kind of I lay on the floor and it looks like I'm having a temper tantrum and I'm crying. And I'm trying to see if he cares. And he kept a distance. And then he kind of just stared at me. I think he was sitting in the tunnel. And I think at one point he came to check on me and then he left. Again, this can be, for a home that has anxiety in the house, this can be a good trait, because a dog that is highly or extremely tender-hearted, they can take on those big emotions, and it can be hard for them to handle if they don't have a strong leader in the home. Whereas a dog who's moderately tender-hearted in those cases is probably going to be like, hey, are you good? They're going to check on you, and they're going to be like, all right, I need you to get up because we're still going to go for a walk and I still need breakfast. So... yes, it can be a wonderful placement for those situations as well. Whereas a household that has a lot of anxiety, if you end up with a highly tender-hearted dog, the dog then takes on the emotions, and now you have a dog with anxiety living with a person with anxiety, and you can imagine that it's hard on everybody. Dog friendliness. So he scored a neutral. There was like a stuffy dog. It's not a real good gauge because they figure out pretty quickly it's not a real dog. He really enjoys the dogs in the house when he's out and about playing with like the aunties. He loves playing with them. But overall, he wasn't like overtly assertive with the stuffy dog or submissive. Excuse me. My throat is getting very raspy from all these videos. So yeah. Definitely scored a neutral there. I think you'll do well whether there's a dog in the home or not. If you have any questions about Gatsby, let me know.